Good evening. Well, tonight. I'm gonna make a probably the first video of my new YouTube series in chainsaw maintenance. Why? Because reasons. No, in all seriousness, because I like it and I like chainsaws. And I got a buddy of mine, Sammy Boy, who is a chainsaw freak like I am, but he is still a normal human being, and I'm definitely past that. I think he needs some help with chainsaws maintenance, and particularly he's a mechanic, so he knows what he's doing. But in this particular subject about chains, chains, and bars. I use the same principle for every type of chain, every type of bar I use. I've got bars, 12 inch, 14 inch, 12 inch, 3 with 12 inch, 1 with 14 inch, 1 with 18 inch, and the other one with 25 and 32. I've got 2 bars for the 462. And I use the same principle on every one of the bars and chains I do. Why bars and chains combined? Well, it's easy to make one video because, in my opinion, when you do bar maintenance, you do also do chain maintenance, and if you do chain maintenance, you do bar maintenance. So let's start with the bar. First of all, clean it when you get the saw out, and it looks like that. It's one of my 200Ts. I'm currently in the process of restoring 3 of them. That's why the workbench is a big mess, because normally I have a clean desk policy. Excuse me. You want to make sure it's clean, and with clean I mean like really clean. You've got it's obviously placed like, when you get the saw out, placed like, can you see it on camera? Yes, perfect. Placed like this on the machine itself, and you've got there's where the, can you see that? Yeah, lovely. This is the place where the bar and chain oil comes out, and you've got these small holes here and there on the bar, and you want to make sure that these are clean as hell, because if they're not clean, your bar's not getting oil and you're just destroying your bar and chain. And trust me, I've made that mistake, and it's not fun, and it's quite expensive. So that's, first of all, use an air compressor. That's just like heaven if you use one. And I made this out of a small bicycle spoke, but it's basically like just a picky thing. And then you just jam it in and just push it all. Now this is clean, of course. You just push it in and you just get all the dirt and grime and gunk out, and then clean it on the cloth, and that's it. Nose wheel, same with the air compressor. Just clean it out, make sure the sawdust is out. And then some people use WD-40. I use chain oil, bar and chain oil, or bicycle chain oil, or motor oil, engine oil, like literally the stuff I throw in my truck. It's the same stuff I used to lubricate my nose wheel with, because in my opinion, if that's good enough to lubricate a 1.2 4-cylinder engine, it's also good enough to oil and lubricate a nose wheel or from a bar. You can't change the nose wheels on these. Well, these bars are only like 30-40 euros, so they're cheap. You can change the nose wheels on the higher end bars, so like the what are they called? Steel light bars. I think the Oregon and Husky bars as well. So if you wear these out, just throw the bar away, or just put a new tip on if you've got the bigger bars. One thing you want to make sure as well is chain tension. Jesus, can't even speak anymore. Chain tension. When you F that up, it's difficult to see in camera, so I can See if I can point it out. But you basically just destroy your bar. Up here, you can see it up here. It's basically a bit wider, and you can see it's not completely straight anymore. There's a bit like a dip in it, and both here and both there. I think you can see it right now. It's there, and yeah, that's this bar is destroyed, which is a real shame because it still can be used, but it's just gonna go, and that's a real shame. So when you've sorted that out, I would. Oh, by the way, I would do the oil part only when you're done with filing and cleaning and everything. So when you've got the saw clean, you want to put the bar and chain back on, then oil the nose wheel, and just pour it in here on the top, and then just wiggle it about and make sure it's all good, and then same here and here. In my opinion, it's oil. So there, and there, and just wiggle it about, make sure it's all good. In my opinion, it's only oil. It's dead cheap. Bars aren't cheap. And when it comes to that, your saw will get dirty anyway, so just oil it. Doesn't matter if you go overkill a bit. When it comes to other bar maintenance, I haven't got. There's a metal file. I don't care. Probably not. When you want to flip the bar around I do it every 10 tanks. As you can see here, I keep hand of. I write down how many fuel tanks I use. So when I fuel up, I just put a little line there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when you've done 10 tanks of oil, when you're out in the field or it doesn't matter where, you just take it off. Take the clutch cover off and everything. Take it off, flip it around, put it back on. Why that? You get equal wear. You get even wear on both rails. I've seen so many chainsaws where people didn't do that, and they just completely destroyed one side of the bar, while the other side is pretty much perfect. And yeah, then you can throw your bar in the bin. And they've done the same with this bar. This bar has been pretty hot, and the paint's gone. And when you look up here, it hasn't been regularly flipped. When you get that done, you want to make sure you every single time you can feel a little little metal flip on the edge. You can even feel it with gloves on. And when you've used a chainsaw extensively, you can definitely feel it. It's noticeable, and you want to get rid of that lip. So what I do, and I do this every single time after I've used, and I do saw maintenance. So can you see what I'm doing? Yes, perfectly. Place it on. Some people like to use vices to clamp it down. I just do it like that. Place it like that, and just. And you do that on the all the way around the bar. Some people do it in the nose. If you feel the lip, do it. But what you do is you get a lip away, and you're gonna much safer bar. It's the same. You do this on this side, that side, and that side. Even if you didn't flip the bar, just make sure it's nice and there's no sharp lip on it, because you will cut your hand. And I've done that, and trust me, that's pretty painful. So after you've done that, try what I did. Lovely. We're gonna do the top as well. So that lip is not only. It's got a different bar. That lip, of course, you're gonna feel the lip like there. So that's where you cut yourself, and the lip's gonna go up as well, because the chain isn't gonna cover the entire width of the bar. So you want to file this side, the sides, on all 4 sides, and then you want to file the top. So this bar is already destroyed, so just clamp it down. And then you just grab a file. This is not a metal file, but I don't care. It's gonna go anyway. Place firmly in your hands, and you want to go just as long until that entire lip is gone. And you can see already, can I focus on camera? Yeah, you can see on the sides, you see it about there, that you're scraping off metal, and that's exactly what you want. And then just go as long, oh yeah, now you can really see it there. You want to go just as long until the lip is completely gone. And you do that there and there. That also gives you a much safer chainsaw, apparently. And that's I learned these tricks from Mr. Buck and Billy Ray. You know, he's much more experienced than I am, and he said as well. If you file the lip off, your chain doesn't do this or this because it just wiggles between the lips, and you cut straight. A lot of the times when you put a new chain on and you don't maintain your bar, you're gonna cut that way or that way. And I've had that, and it's pretty annoying, especially when you cut a big stump or a big tree from two sides. So, and after you've done a lot, if you just do that every single time you maintain your chainsaw, if you can feel a lip or not, if you can feel a tiny bit, this is like a 5-minute job. Literally like a 5-minute job. It's dead easy to do, pretty quick, and once you get experience with it, it's done in 5 minutes. One thing I must say is, as you can see, I'm just clamping it into the vise like that. I wouldn't do that with a bar I'm still using. Just get 2 plastic pieces or just 2 wooden pieces, and just put it between the workbench and your bar. Otherwise, your bar gets completely scratched up, and that's a bit of a waste of the bar. So that completes bar maintenance. Now, Sammy boy, because this video is especially made for you, we switch to chain maintenance. And some people think it's rocket science, but really it isn't. You just need to know what you're doing, and when you know what you're doing, you think, oh, is that it? Yes, that's it. Let's just go. First of all, you've got a million types of chains, but on the saws you're using, you've got a 170 now, and you don't know it yourself yet, but you will upgrade to 261 pretty quick. Only joking. Good. The 2 types of chains which are useful on your saw are a hooked and a half hooked chain. To explain that in a language that normal human beings understand, a half hooked chain is, I'm going to show them in a minute what they are, because I've got a hooked and a half hooked here. But a half hooked chain is a chain for beginners, for people that are relatively new to chainsaws, and they just need a little bit of time to get used to the machine, and just get one with the machine. So, especially when you start using a chainsaw for the first time on your 170, for example, I mean, nobody's going to start on it with a 462. At least I didn't. I started with a 170, then upgraded my way. You're going to use and when you get it new, specifically ask for a half hook chain. It's just safer. It just gives you more confidence in the saw, and it just gives you more time to get used to the saw. And it's just better for beginners. And once you feel once you feel comfortable with the saw, you can upgrade, and you've wear out your first chain, for example, or you want to buy a spare chain, then buy a hooked chain, which is more aggressive, cuts faster, but most of all, it's more aggressive. And chainsaws can be very, very aggressive to people who don't know how to work with them. So be very careful. Always be careful when you use chainsaws. Use your PPE. Use your brain, and don't be an idiot. I mean, there are enough idiots in the world out already who give chainsaw users a bad name, and don't be one of them. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So, chains. Let me focus on camera. As you can see, oh lovely. Perfect. As you can see, there are two different links here. Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. Look at scrunch. Up here is a hook chain. Up there is a half hook chain. I think it goes even without saying. With a half hook chain, half hooked chain, you don't have the sharp edge here, the sharp corner, angle, whatever you want to call it, and you do have it there. So this chain, this one, doesn't cut nowhere near as aggressive as this one does. Can you see it? Hooked, half hooked. You can see it from the top as well. Hook chain, half hook chain. You can see this. You can see the sharp angle in here. Hooked and half hooked. Okay, so that's that. My advice is always, literally always, still your chains are obviously clean, but we're going to come later to that. And with your chain sharpened, I've caught myself not doing that a few times, and then you start using the saw and you feel, you know, like the biggest amateur straight away, because your chain's dull and you make yourself look like a massive idiot. I always store my chainsaws ready to use for the next time. I store them in a closet with the bar and chain off. Literally, if I need a saw, I can put the bar and chain off, put bar and chain oil in it and fuel in it, and just fire it up straight away. Don't have to clean it. Don't have to clean. Don't have to sharpen anything or check anything. It just straight to go always. And I want to do the same principle for these old girls. But yeah, they're gonna get fully rebuilt anyway. So if your chain, make sure it's sharp always, like I said. When you want to sharpen it, usually just do it on your chainsaw with the bar and chain still on. It's easier, and you don't have to improvise like I do right now. Oh bugger, that's not long enough. Ah, shit. Sorry. Not allowed to swear on YouTube. Bugger. Okay, I'm allowed to say that, right? This is a half hook as well. Some idiot put a half hook chain on a 200T on a climbing saw. Yeah, I don't get that. Lovely. Perfect. Good. So let me see if you can focus that a bit better on camera. If you want to notice if your chains are sharp, let me just read real quickly if we can find a sharp one. I don't know who sharpened that one, but that's just the corner is completely off. That looks relatively sharp. I mean, my little pointy thing. Oh bugger, here it is. You want to make sure that this angle is razor sharp, and I'll explain in a second where I'm wearing gloves, because this is how a chain works. I hit the wood first, and this cuts the wood. So the sharper this bit is, the better the saw will cut, and the lower this bit is, this bit, the more aggressive the chain will be. And it doesn't matter if you have a half hook chain or a hook chain, it will just be very, very aggressive. My advice to you, Sam, and particularly to you, because you're relatively new, well, to anybody basically who's new to cut filing chains and getting chainsaws, is invest in one of these bad boys. This is what you call a 3-in-1 file. This particular one is for my 261, and it's just so dead easy to use. You've got a guide on how you use it, and it's basically, there's even angles that you need to keep, and it's just going all the way. It's just stupidly simple to use and idiot proof, but clean them thoroughly. But yeah, let's explain that in a second. How you clean your fires. I usually just my chains before I even sharpen them, especially when I'm at home. I don't have to sharpen a chain out in the field. I just put a new chain on, or I'm done before the chain is dull. I get them in my degreaser and clean them very thoroughly, and then rinse them off so they are. And even use dish soap and a brush like this one. I've used this one extensively, so my chains are always pretty clean. If you don't have that ability, clean the chain off when you need to sharpen your saw out in the field, for example. I would highly recommend to invest in some portable work table and a vise. That's just a vise or anything that holds your saw stable makes your life a million times easier, and it's worth every single penny. What I just do when my chain is sharp, I just get a brush and just go over him like that. Just try to make sure that all the sawdust is out. It takes a little bit of time, but it makes sure that you keep your chain clean and your file clean. And when I'm done filing, there's a brush on the file as well. Some people like to use these sharp bad boys. You just go over them, but just make sure they are clean and keep them away from water, because they will rot, and they are fairly pricey. They are like 30 quid, 30 euros, pounds, dollars, bucks, whatever. Let's just stick to euros, it's easier. So yeah, I paid 20, 30 euros for them. And the first one I got from my 170 is this one. This is just a normal standard regular file, and then I used a flat file from the top. It's not as accurate as a 3-in-1 combination file, but you gotta start somewhere. But this is the bare minimum I would buy. This is not a good metal file, but a good metal file. And then you can buy a gauge as well. It's called a depth gauge. And that just gives you a notice how, if you've got hardwood or softwood. For example, if you're cutting an oak tree, your depth gauge needs to go down a little bit further than, for example, a fir, because fir is relatively softwood compared to oak. So, I would personally, when this one is just effed up, and I need a combination file for my 200Ts, because they all use the same file from 170. So I'll purchase one for this size pretty quickly. But if you haven't got the luxury, let's just put it around. It's just easier to film. What you want to do is obviously keep it clean. You want to maintain an angle of 30 degrees. So that's why it's easier. Definitely as a beginner to get yourself one of these. But you want to get the angle and just put it forward. But you don't want to push down. You don't want to pull up, but you want to push. I always pull a little bit backwards, little bit like that, a little bit push a bit backwards and a little bit up, so you get it nice and sharp. I'm not gonna fully sharpen this chain because it's already destroyed, and I'm not gonna put a lot of time into it, but the best way to make sure that you've hit your link pretty good is when you can see pretty obvious. Bugger. sorry about that. And you can see the bit here. See this on camera. You can see the bit on here that you've got a little bit of sharpened here and not there, and it's the same for upwards as well. And you want this corner, this point, to be razor sharp. The sharper it gets, the better it cuts, the safer your chainsaw will be, because it will be more predictable, in my opinion. So you can easily see that when you get that right, you get full scratches and a full file contact on that corner. And then when you've done that, get your depth gauge, which I don't have, because like I said, I'm gonna get a 3-to-1 combination file anyways. And you put it on top like that, and then you just go over the top as much as you need until it's sharp again. When you get the 3-in-1 combination file, which again I would highly recommend you purchase ASAP, and trust me, it's worth every single penny. I've got the right chain on here, but you can see the lighting is pretty terrible for filming. Side of your, I mean, you can literally just do what it says on here. You can't go wrong. And then you place it on the bar and chain, on the bar and chain. You place it on the chain. Don't wiggle about. Don't do this. Don't do that. But just keep it level, and just go like that. Like I said, I haven't got the right chain for it, but you just push it along as much as you need to sharpen the chain. And then use your brush, just clean it like that, and blow it off, and then job done. Just keep it stored dry in your car, bag, whatever, but make sure it's dry and clean at all times, and then you're good to go basically. And the major benefit of using this one is that this big file in the middle, whether you're using this side or the other side, it files down the depth gauge automatically, which is, in my opinion, a huge benefit, because you're done faster, and you know your chain is the same everywhere. Some people say use the same amount of times of strokes on each tooth. I would just go until the chain is sharp. If you've got one effed up tooth, maybe go over that one a little bit more, or just for example, if you need, you need one tooth, you need to go 18 times across that to get it sharp again, and the rest only 2. The choice is up to you, but just make sure every single tooth is sharp, and then you're pretty much good to go. So yeah, know what you're doing. And the reason why I'm always wearing gloves is I cut myself once pretty bad with my razor sharp brand new chain of a 462, and that hurts. So get used to filing chains and sharpening chains and doing bar and chain maintenance with gloves on. If you cut yourself, you cut your glove, and these gloves are like €2, €2 for a new pair, and even less than that, €1 for a new pair of them. It's just not worth to take the risk and cut yourself. So wear gloves, do proper bar and chain maintenance, keep it clean, keep it simple. Don't, it's not rocket science. You need to know what you're doing, and then that's it. Have fun with your chainsaw, and don't be an idiot. Have fun. Cut down firewood or trees or whatever you need to do, and yeah, buckle up and buck. So have fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment. No, not comment, not like, no. Just subscribe, because I'm not going to say like, comment, subscribe. I'm only going to ask you to subscribe if you like it, because then you will get to see a lot of more cool content. So ciao.